Hello and welcome to WashingtonExec's video series. I'm your host, Amanda Ziadeh, and with me today is Balan Ayyar. He's the founder and CEO of Percipient.ai. Thank you so much for joining me today, Balan.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be with you and the Percipient.ai team.
All right, wonderful. So, if our viewers are a bit unfamiliar, Percipient.ai is focused on AI, machine learning, and computer vision for the intelligence and national security missions. So I just wanted to catch up with you and ask what advancements your organization is making in those areas of AI and ML.
Well, thank you, Amanda, and thanks to JD and the team at WashingtonExec. I look forward to spending more time in person with you as the COVID situation allows. But it's a joy to share with you a few thoughts on this. Listen, Percipient.ai, based in Santa Clara, we got a brilliant team of scientists and engineers there working on bringing visual understanding to the national security and intelligence space. You can kind of imagine the challenges that exist in that space. Right. So much data from air, ground, and space sensors, and so little time in many cases to make a comprehensive understanding of it and to be able to produce really actionable intelligence from it. And so we're in the very front edge of being able to understand the world from ground, air, and space sensors using computer vision in a really wonderful integratable platform that has got a spectacular user experience. And so we happen to think that human and machine teaming is the future. It, of course, already exists in so many areas, but in the intelligence and security space, it's been difficult because these are very closed environments, very sensitive missions, high control of the data, and we just haven't seen a lot of innovation from the commercial sectors penetrate that space. And so we're delighted to be venture-backed and to be working on what we think are the toughest problems with the highest stakes for the best customers. And we have a couple products which are really just cutting edge and are doing fantastic. So very exciting, but essentially visual understanding, providing these intelligence and security analysts the ability to be more precise and more decisive in the very short time they have to understand the world by using machine intelligence to kind of augment, accelerate, and elevate their understanding. We think we can get to a much better place more quickly.
Wonderful. So kind of expanding on that, are there any challenges that these advancements are helping your customers solve or overcome specifically?
Well, gosh, my goodness, how much time do you have?
Right.
There are lots of challenges, Amanda. Listen, anytime you're bringing commercial innovation into the national security and government space, there are all kinds of challenges, right? Not just the kind of normal process, but many of our legacy data systems aren't really designed for the kind of use of artificial intelligence. Both the processing of the data, which is computationally heavy, the sensor data moving through that architecture, to an analyst now that can look at much more data, visual data, than was previously possible. So none of the data architecture and legacy infrastructure is really designed for the use in artificial intelligence. And then, as you know, many of your customers at least know, the challenges of procurement in government, particularly for a venture-backed Silicon Valley firm, are not insurmountable, but prodigious, right? They're challenging. And so I think there is real excitement and understanding about the importance of human and machine teaming and artificial intelligence. It's in all of the strategies, down from the DNI to the DoD and into the individual organizations, their desire to incorporate these technologies. So there is momentum, but there remain challenges with any kind of innovative technology to make sure that you don't have this bit of a hype curve where you deploy this new technology. The customer isn't really ready for it and doesn't have the infrastructure and sensors in place to take advantage of it. And so you get this kind of very predictable outcome, which isn't as spectacular as they'd hoped. So lots of challenges, all worth the fight. We think that it's just incontrovertible that our enemies and adversaries are using these technologies, and we want to be providing the capabilities that we know the commercial sector has already advanced, right? Our team in Silicon Valley, largely responsible for Microsoft Maps, Google Maps, and the other Maps programs, is the core places that computer vision scientists were working over the last decades in Silicon Valley. Now we've got many of the brightest scientists with that background working on our product to help us win. But yeah, plenty of challenges. We could take the whole show on it, but we're doing great. We feel very blessed. We've got great customers.
As people continue to work from home and as we potentially enter, a more remote type of working era, how are AI and ML tools helping your employees do their jobs and your customers as well?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I'm not sure the intelligence and security community has thought their way through this completely. They were a little bit surprised. Some of the agencies, as you probably know, as certainly your colleagues know, are 50% on, 50% off, just to keep the density of folks in their buildings down to minimize the potential transmission of the virus. And so we've really got to find a way for them to work from home more powerfully, more effectively, to gain their insights, keep their perishable skills strong. And I'm really happy to report that one organization in particular that's a customer of ours is working in an unclassified but secure environment from home. First we've ever heard of, to be able to look at the world from space-based data, derive some preliminary insights that can then move into a process by which they can use that data in the classified environments, maybe raising the classification level as their insights become apparent. But I do think that we're at the beginning of understanding how we can work from home more effectively. I'm really delighted to tell you that Mirage works beautifully. Our software, the geospatial module, works beautifully on unclassified and protected networks. And interestingly, one of the things that's really been democratized over the last several years is access to commercial data from space. This used to be the providence only of national security and intelligence agencies, but there are so many low Earth and other constellations now available. Even our adversaries, if they don't have their own national technical means, in other words, their own satellites and constellations, can buy data from commercial satellites going over our country and analyze that data in a way that we had, capabilities for over their nations, but they now have, from commercial means, capability to look at our own nation. And so it is very exciting. And I think this question you're asking, we're just at the beginning of. How well can we secure the home environment so our national security and classified workers can work in an unclassified setting securely? And we're using Mirage to test and validate that now. One of the flagship organizations using Mirage for understanding the world from space is using it from home on a secure unclassified environment. You mentioned how my company is dealing. Most of our 55 or 60 scientists and engineers are having great productivity from home, secure environments from home. But I have to tell you, as a CEO, for your companies that are also thinking about what their new environment's going to be in the office, I feel like we've lost a little bit of the innovation and collaboration that takes place from people working together. So this is a topic for another discussion, but I do think that the pendulum might have swung a little bit towards the home because of the challenges we're facing. I do think there's some wonderful things that were happening for us at work, with our teams working together, that I haven't been able to mimic with Zoom. Filling the schedule with Zoom has not increased our innovation and collaboration. So not to pick on Zoom or any of the technologies that's out there to video conference, but we're not building trust with each other by video conference.
No, absolutely. And hopefully we'll be able to collaborate in that setting again soon.